Hey guys, Sam here and welcome back to Samcraft, and welcome to another video talking about 3D printing, but also could apply to any environment that you work from. In today's video, I'm going to be going on a personal investigation journey to try and figure out how bad these 3D printers are affecting my air quality inside my shop, whether it be particulate matter, VOCs, both or neither, and then do some experiments on can I kind of mitigate any of this with the current filtration system I have. We'll do some checks on that filter, see how well it works, and then also basically gather some data to then take on another video to apply it and see how great we can get an outcome from. As you watch this video, I want to express number one, I'm not a professional, I'm not an expert. Don't take what I do as this is what you do, you're good to go. This is more of an education and entertainment factor. These are things that I'm testing and playing around with in my shop. So always use your best judgment when it comes to your own applications and your own safety. I also want you to know that this is me bringing you along as I experiment, as I test, trial, and learn. I'm not presenting a solution to you. I'm not going to be pawning off a product to go buy. This is some down and dirty, maybe like original YouTube content where a guy brings you along to try and figure something out. And then the last thing I would say is that if you have some great constructive comments and advice that could help others, be sure to leave a comment down below. And you as a viewer, do exactly what I'm going to be doing once the video is live. Read those comments, see what's out there. This is a meeting of the minds, so to speak, given some minds might be sharp as knives or sharp as crayons, but it's a great place to kind of gather people around one subject and see what options are out there. All right, that being said, let's jump into it. So from what I'm seeing so far, it's still on its first layer. There is not a lot of bad stuff being emitted. So the PM, the particulate matter, it did spike whenever the filament was being changed, when it was first being extruded and stuff like that. But once it's been laying down the layer lines here, it's not really doing much. Now given it's still on its first layer line and the printer goes a lot slower, the fan on the extruder head is not really on high, and so I don't think it's really kicking out much stuff. What I want to do is go ahead and jump to when this model gets a little bit further along and it starts to really move the fan around and extrude stuff faster, and what I think or suspect really start to put out some more stuff. Alright guys, this meter has been running for 2 hours and I've got to the point where I don't feel like we're going to get any more different data. So looking at the meter, it never went from the good green level to the next step up moderate, with the exception of when the printer was doing its initial poop, its initial heat up. That's when it was really dumping some stuff. So that was interesting to see. It was also expected from what little research I've done, and I'm not an expert, so don't take this as Sam as an expert. But the research I've done is that the majority of things being emitted happens on that initial heat up. And then of course, if you do color changes, cool off sessions, and things like that, and which kind of jives with what I saw with the meter. Otherwise, honestly, it stayed in the good range. It stayed in the green. So if I only had one or maybe two 3D printers, I probably wouldn't be worrying about this as much. I would have a small air filter or something like that and think that it's pretty good. The problem is I don't have just one or two printers. I have 26 right now, and I plan on doubling or maybe tripling these in the next 6 months. So I need to address this. While I've been running this test for the past 2 hours, I've only had that one printer running, and now I'm ready to go ahead and start kicking some tires, lighting some fires, and getting all of these going. What I want to do to try my best to get some kind of data is take the air quality meter and let's stick it about here. We're about 8 feet away from that wall. Let me sit it here, fire up all the printers, and see what happens at this distance. I am going to leave my current shop air filter turned off. That's what you guys can barely see right there at the corner. That is a large fan hooked up to a MERV 15 filter. It's kind of a DIY system. I'll leave it off for now. Let's go ahead and fire up all the printers, get going, really get this place stunk up. It doesn't stink too bad, but you know what I'm saying. And let's see what the meter says. I think that's probably the best next step. All right, guys, the little meter here has been running for a little while, and I want to go ahead and take a look at the results. Currently, it is reading a PM 2.5 at 6.2, PM 10 at 9.9, and number of particles per liter, 938. Looking at this earlier, I think the highest number that I saw, as far as just working around looking, was around 1,100 number of particles per liter, according to the little guy, but it was still in the green, still saying we're good. In here now, it's got that smell, you know, the 3D print smell that we're all familiar with if you've done 3D printing. So again, this is only PLA, no other filament used, only PLA. So looking at the data though, going over to the graph, the highest level that the PM 2.5 looks like it registered was about a 6.5, and looks like that's micrograms per cubic meter. And then as far as the PM 10, the highest it read looks like around 11 micrograms per cubic meter. So again, it's still saying we're in the green, but it's kind of getting the funk out here. Over here on the wall, this little guy here is an Amazon air quality meter. So it's been sitting there, and tapping on here with my phone, I'll go ahead and show you guys my screen here as well. The indoor air quality is currently reading at 97, which is good. I'm going to scroll over to the PM, or particulate matter, and it's telling me 3 micrograms per cubic meter. That's what it's currently reading. Scrolling on over to CO, that obviously we hope is 0. Oh, okay, 1 parts per million. And the VOC is not really useful with this meter because it is an average. So that's why I'm not going to talk about that ever again with this meter. So looking at that air quality meter, it's saying we're okay. This one here says we're okay, but it still kind of has that smell in here. So makes you wonder, doesn't it? What are we smelling? Particulate matter or VOCs? So going by the meters, they're telling me you're fine, don't worry about it. So maybe I shouldn't. But what I want to do out of curiosity is go ahead and turn on my air filter down here, let it run for a while, and see if it does anything to the particulate matter or otherwise air quality that these two guys are picking up. All right, guys, here's a look at my DIY shop air filter that I've put together. This is a fan from Amazon, and it is going into a Win Environmental MERV 15 air filter. This is a canister filter, and it is designed for air to flow from the top down into the inside and then filter from the inside out. So this is oriented correctly for this filter. It's just sitting here on top of this. It's got the clamps that come with it, but it does make for a nice all-in-one unit for filtration. So let's go ahead and turn this guy on high and see what data we get from our meters. I'll turn that off just for 1 second. That is some pretty good data, guys. So I think the video ran for about 20 minutes, and it pulled the PM 2.5 from, looks like a 6.5 down to below 2.5. and then it pulled the PM10 from, oh, let's say 11 down to 4, just in 20 minutes. That's really good, especially considering the size of my shop. So this is a 20-foot wide building, 32 feet long, but it is also fully connected to my other workshop, which is a 12 by 20. So volumetrically, it's a large space. Now, given the air filter is in its best location, it's right over here in Dirtiesville, so it is in its good spot. But the fact that it's able to pull that down that much in a relatively short amount of time gives this guy hope. This is good. I also went outside of the shop for the 20 minutes. I was outside under our carport, kind of just hanging out, basically cleaning up the old sniffer to come back in and do the whole sniff test to see if I smelled the funk or not. The funk was not as apparent. It really was not. So that is great news. So in my instance, right now, as far as particulate matter, I think the air filter is actually working pretty good. Really good. The only drawback that I have for it is it's loud. It would be nice to have something quieter so that I could do videos in here, or I could work in here and it not be crazy loud. But honestly, what's more important? A quiet shop, videos that have no background noise, even though that's got noise, or my health. More importantly, my family's health, because this is a family business. Obviously, we know what the answer is. One other thing that I will touch on, but it's not going to be the focus of this video because I've got to do more research, and I know I have zero mitigation measures for this, is VOCs. While I only print with PLA, and it is largely considered safe and free of VOCs, according to this meter, this is not a zero VOC environment. Now, you're probably thinking, yeah, those dudes probably spewing the VOCs. Guarantee it. Actually, they're not. Not that much. I had this meter over there, and the highest it got on the VOC meter, this is TVOC, so total VOCs, milligram per cubic meter, was a 1.5. Maybe that's high. Maybe that's low. I don't know, and I don't have the data right now to put in front of you to tell you that. So take it for what it's worth. I will tell you though, having this guy over here, so in my shipping station, it read a 4, just sitting here with the printers off. I was trying to get a baseline reading, and from what I can tell, my shop over here putting out some 4 level VOCs. That's probably the enamel paint from the workbenches. Maybe it's the new, I don't know, packaging materials, tape. Obviously my laser printer does put off VOCs and components and things when it runs. Packing material, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you guys on VOCs. What little bit of research I have done and what I want to do is to put some kind of a carbon filter in here. That gets to be expensive. That gets to be theoretical as far as what works best, how well does it work, what compounds does it remove, and all sorts of stuff like that. I know that having a meter like this can be a two-edged sword. It can be a wonderful tool to improve my air quality, but it can also be a tool to make me go down a rabbit trail, spending a ton of money and make no headway in the end. Obviously, the number one goal is to get a safe, healthy environment. That is, period, the number one goal. I'm not cheaping out. I'm not trying to cheap out. I'm not telling you to cheap out. But I do know enough to know that the 3D printers are not the only thing in this shop off-gassing or causing particulate matters. As we get to the end of this video, where does that leave us? Hopefully you have found some information from this to realize that 3D printing, even with PLA, does produce particulate matter, and it is something that probably you should be filtering, even if you have a small one printer setup or a print farm. VOCs, still kind of a gray area for me with PLA. There is concrete data, however, that if you use other filaments, other plastic filaments, you are by far in the red with particulate matter and VOC. So remember, this is only PLA, this is only SAM. That being said, right now, my thought is my next step is to put in place some charcoal level filtration, some kind of VOC filtration, and also probably look at some kind of air purification, ventilation systems that may be better suited for my space. Right now, I've got 26 printers. I'm going to expand it in 2025 to at least double, if not triple or quadruple that. It all depends on other business ideas I've got on launching new items, new ventures, and really scaling big time. So what that means is you guys can definitely stick around. I'm going to be talking about this again in the future, and this is just Sam's first video into the land of air quality inside of a 3D printing workspace. If you've got questions or comments, leave them down below. The questions thing, depending upon my knowledge, I may not be able to answer you, but no doubt there's probably going to be some experts down there and they will tell you what they think. Just realize that you're only getting people's opinions unless they cite you to official research papers. It's all opinions. So make sure you do your best research, your best judgment, and your own due diligence when it comes to thinking about applying and installing things when it comes to your safety. Otherwise, thanks for watching as always. Take care. See you guys next time in the workshop.